These works are also on display every May 13th when practitioners hold parades and rallies to celebrate what's become known as Falun Dafa Day. The day commemorates Li's birthday and the day the practice was first taught in public. The costumes and performances are done in traditional styles and are intended to showcase Falun Gong's connection to ancient Chinese culture. It's a connection that goes beyond the colorful silks and traditional tunes. Over 2,000 years ago in China, Confucius taught the 5 virtues of benevolence, righteousness, loyalty, propriety, and learning. Ancient Buddhist and Taoist teachings also emphasized different aspects of morality. But during the Cultural Revolution, Confucius was denounced along with Mao's personal enemies, and Mao's theories were taken as the absolute truth. Falun Gong's revival of traditional moral concepts resonated with the memories of a dead history. And in a country that had been violently cut off from its past, Falun Gong offered a way to bridge the gap.
I bought a copy of Zhuan Falun and I read it all the way home from the park, my hands just holding it up in front of me. When I read the preface, in the opening part of the book, it was a shock, something life-changing, like an earthquake. I knew this was exactly what I was looking for.
When I first started to practice Falun Dafa, we practice in a park in Brooklyn. And many times African Americans would pass by and want to know why would we be practicing something like that when it's Chinese. And we basically try to help them to understand that it's not Chinese, it's not African American, it's not Anglo-Saxon American. It's a diverse practice, and it doesn't have anything whatsoever to do with race. It has everything to do with what's going on with your own life and what you are seeking to understand at this particular time in your life.
By the spring of 1999, Falun Gong had already spread widely both inside China and around the world. But although they didn't know it, for thousands of practitioners in China, their lives were quickly coming to an end.
They took me to another room with no window. One man suddenly grabbed me and pulled me in front of him, and he started slapping my face. He said, "Do you know that I beat Zhang Hengjie to death?" Zhang Hengjie was a Falun Gong practitioner from Jieshi district. I had contact with him before his death. The other man said, "Beating Falun Gong to death is nothing and is counted as suicide." I said, "Even if you beat me to death, I will not tell you anything."
Those who stood up for Falun Gong endured vicious physical and mental torture. Those who sided with the government were often forced to persecute others.
When Jiang Zemin started this persecution, everyone in the government and everyone in the whole China, they have to say, you agree with that or you don't agree with that.
Thousands were brutally killed, driven insane, or forced out of the country. But in the end, their stories would be defined not by persecution, but by faith.
At that time, I was very sad for these people because they were so young. Some of them would call each other Big Sister, hoping that they can help them in society. Sometimes I think that if their parents knew that, their children would, for just $1,000, do these sorts of things. What their parents would think. When they're not torturing people, they act differently. Sometimes I would look at them and think they're pretty innocent, but these girls around 20 years old would do those things. You can't imagine it. So at that time, during that process, I didn't feel much for myself, but to see those girls like that, I was very, very sad.
Why do Falun Gong practitioners in mainland China keep practicing and not give up under torture? I really hope a lot of them will live through it, and you'll be able to ask them yourself.